All right, we are live. Um, just give me like a minute or two here just to get some people to join, and we'll get into what we want to get into today. I'm basically going to be talking about how more people need to speak up. If you didn't notice the other day, I went on a live stream with someone who he's an old friend of mine, and unfortunately, he like freaked out the next day after we live streamed and I posted it. He was all worried about his job, and this guy works at a supermarket, so I don't know what he's all worried about. It the chances of his job finding out is like 1 in a million. But nonetheless, just give me a couple minutes here to get the links so I could post them on my social media, and then we'll get started here. KVN, what's up, bro? Thanks for hopping in. Just getting some things ready here. Get you off my email there. I was just posting on my my Instagram so that people could join if they want. But anyway, let's get into what we want to talk about today. Finally, shall we? Sorry about taking my time there. I just wanted to be able to post and see if anyone's gonna join. You know, I'm a very small outlet here, so let's see who we got. Looks like only DJ KVN is the only one here. Well, let's get started. Well, like I was saying earlier in the live stream, in the very, very beginning, I'm making this video and I'm titling it More People Need to Speak Up, because the other day, 2 days ago, a friend of mine who agreed to do a live stream with me, I've been trying to get him on for a while now. He actually was in the Rutgers interview in that video towards the end. He actually came with me while I did that. And this guy is a very good example of someone who suffers the Dunning-Kruger effect, which we'll get into. But nonetheless, we did the live stream. It went very well. I was really happy. He gained my respect because he actually hopped on. And the next morning, he all of a sudden bugs out and gets all paranoid. And he thinks that his job, for some reason, is going to find out about the fact that he was on there, and I think he mentioned for some reason that he said the place where he worked at. I don't know why he did that, but nonetheless, it's like the chances of him getting caught is 1 in a million. And this is exactly what the powers that be want. You see, this is what's funny. He comes up on here, he's talking about some real stuff, he's saying some factual things, right? There's some things he says that you could say, all right, like he's definitely got some knowledge on some things, but yet he doesn't see the bigger picture. And that seems to be most people's issue. Like they don't want to go further into truth because it's scary, because they don't want to believe it. It's like something that it's like trying to tell someone that 2 + 2 is 4, but they just don't want to believe it. That's like what it is with people and the truth. They don't want to believe that the truth is true. They want to believe it's a lie because it's comfortable for them, you know? And it really aggravates me, man. I was so pissed off the whole day yesterday. Because, you know, I was up till like 3 in the morning, you know? I was literally up until like practically 3 in the morning because I made a thumbnail for the video. I was talking on the phone with him for a little while after. I mean, we did the stream till 1:30 in the morning. And then I was on the phone with this guy for a little while. I made the thumbnail. I listened to the video for a bit. So I didn't sleep that well that night, you know? And what's aggravating is this guy is all worried, right, about his freaking job. he's all worried about it, but he doesn't understand that he's falling right into what they want, which is fear. That's what it comes down to is fear. Why people don't want to speak up. They're scared of what other people might think. They're scared to lose something, a job. And again, this guy is literally turning 30 years old this year. He works at a supermarket. I won't say which one, but it's a supermarket. He does a job that teenagers do, for crying out loud. He's a single guy. In fact, I don't believe he's ever had a real girlfriend in his life, which is, you know, a whole other issue on its own. You can use your imagination there. Why does the same picture keep popping up? I'm sorry, guys. Like, this is supposed to be like a random slideshow I got going on here, and the same picture here, for some reason, keeps coming up. I don't know why it does that sometimes, where it's like keeps showing the same one. But anyway, he's doing a job that teenagers do. He doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't have kids. So what do you care if you get fired? If you get fired, which you're definitely not gonna, because if your supermarket job is spying on your social media and just gonna all of a sudden know that you posted it, or that you said something about them, or that you mentioned you worked there, and you're on here talking about truth, and then you're freaking out, because that's what this guy did. He bugged out and was like insisting that he was going to get fired because of the video. And it just goes to show his maturity. But this is your 30-year-old men. In 2026, this is your 30-year-old men. They are cowards. They are little bitches. Excuse my language, but what else do you want me to say? I've been making videos since 2019. I've had all different jobs, and none of my jobs have ever found out about my YouTube channel. None of them. None of them ask me if I make, YouTube videos or anything like that. None of them stalk my social media. And these were much more serious jobs than what this guy has. And it's so aggravating that I'm the guy putting the risk out here, risking my image, right? To deliver truth to people who are so ungrateful for it, who wouldn't know truth if it smacked them across the face. That's the state of mind that humanity is in right now. They are so dumbed down. They're so stupid. They have no morals. They have no principles. They have no idea which way is up. They are walking, talking zombies. They're soulless. They don't have a soul. They don't have a working brain. They're zombies. And we're all going to get our asses handed to us by the elite. They're walking us into a prison, into a digital prison where you and your children are not going to have freedom of thought or expression, and you don't care. You see, your kids are going to ask you one day. They're going to grow up and be your age one day. They're going to ask you, what the hell did you do about all this shit? You knew about it. What did you do about it, right? And you're gonna unfortunately have to look them in the eyes and say, I didn't do anything. And how do you think they're gonna feel about you? They're gonna lose respect for you, because that's how I feel about my parents. That's how I feel about anyone much older than me, who just they don't even know about these things. But it's so aggravating that I'm the guy who's got to do it. For some reason, little old me has the courage, the will, the ambition to want to get truth out there and progress with it, right? Remember how shitty my videos would be, just me talking in my apartment or whatever, to trying to put something here to keep people's attention, because I know you don't just want to look at me, right, while I speak. It's really frustrating, and it makes me lose respect for this. This guy earned my respect, and in just a couple of hours completely lost it. He took a step of progress, this guy, because that was the first time he's ever done something like this. And I wanted him to come on because I knew that he knew enough, at least, to talk about certain things. I knew he was going to sound ignorant and stupid on some subjects, but that was expected and whatever, I want this to be more interactive. I want more people on here. It sucks, man. It really sucks that people they don't want to speak up. They don't want to speak up. I mean, again, like I was saying, this guy just made progress, and then he took a step forward and then took 2 steps back. That's exactly what this guy did. Because it's fear. It all comes down to fear. He's scared he's going to lose his job. You tell this to anyone else, like your average person who's slightly even awake. Oh, well, I'm scared of my job. And people say, yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's because we all need money, right? And that's what it is. People don't want to take the risk, so we're getting our asses handed to us. Because no one wants to speak up because everyone's afraid. And not only are you afraid about a job, but you're afraid of what other people might think. That's a whole other thing besides just a job. Everyone is afraid of what people are going to think. They're afraid of what their significant other is going to think. Their friends, their family, their neighbors, their community, their coworkers, right? Well, I mean, everyone is afraid of what other people are going to think. That's why no one talks about these things. No one even touches on this subject. Because it's so uncomfortable for people to talk about, because this is how stupid humanity has become. This is how much of worthless, soulless animals we have become. Just immoral trash that we have become. There's this one guy, I won't say his name, that I see at my gym here. He's, in his early 20s. And he's falling down the path of the right, kind of like the Nick Fuentes right-wing person who kind of sees through politics and is looking at a lot of alternative media sources. And like I've been talking about all year, last year and this year, of course, that is the path that the powers that be have laid out for anyone that's going to get suspicious. So they'll send you down the path of Myron Gaines or Jake Shields or Nick Fuentes or Candace Owens or Alex Jones even, right? Even though Alex Jones is really gone off the deep end, and he's been off the deep end for a long time now. So this guy has a Twitter, right? Just like me. And by the way, the links to all my social medias are linked below. And that is my Twitter right here, my X. If you want to follow me, if you have the account, please do. All my other social medias will be in the description box below. They're already listed, so please follow me. This guy is anonymous on X, and this is a whole other issue, and I've spoken about this many times, that people want to remain anonymous on social media. Not only do they not even have their name, but they don't even have a picture of themselves. They don't have any content. They don't have like any videos, any podcasts, any books, any websites, any articles, any blogs. They don't have anything. All they have is their fingers and a keyboard. That's all they have. And that's all they do. And they somehow think that it's going to manifest any change in the world by being a keyboard warrior. But people are so afraid to put a comment on X out there. And I know, like in Europe, right, that there's people that have had federal agents knock on their door because they posted a meme about Israel or something, right? And I know this is exactly where we're headed, because as I've spoken about earlier in this, the reason why we're headed in that direction is because no one has the audacity, the balls, or the courage to speak up about anything. And most people, they just don't even know. They're not even aware. But the people who are aware are even worse than the people who are unaware, because the people who are aware are not doing anything to wake the people up who are unaware. Because they're scared. They're fearful. My job. Oh, but if I post a comment on X, what if they come after me? I know who I am. Listen, the powers that be in this world don't give a shit about you. They're not intimidated by you. They don't look at you as a threat. They're not going to come after you. Maybe if you start to garner millions of followers and you're really starting to become influential, maybe they would. But you're not going to come after little old you because you're not that important. And you just writing a comment on X under a fake name, under a fake account with not even your picture there, isn't going to spark them to want to come after you or be suspicious about you in any way, shape, or form. You're probably already on a list if you know, or they probably have some sort of ranking system that they rank us in certain categories of what kind of civilian we are to them, right? And this is just the problem. This is the problem, like I keep talking about, is people just aren't speaking up. And I can't really do much. I can only motivate. I can light a fire under your butt. I can provide you with the knowledge and all. But people gotta make the steps on their own. Not only are people not saying anything, but a lot of people aren't even starting and looking into it. The starting point, of course, is looking into these things. And a lot of people haven't even started yet. I mean, there's people out here who still think politics is real. They think their votes are changing the world and contributing to the world. People think like this. A lot of people. People still think that a politician is going to come and save their day. They think authority, the government, is going to come in and save the day. It's amazing. No matter what happens, no matter who comes in, what party, people don't learn their lesson on it. And you know what? People are getting screwed and getting effed in their A. You don't believe me? Try buying a home. Try buying groceries. Go fill up your car with gas. My God. And people just, I don't know. I don't know what people think. I don't know where people's heads are at. And it's scary because dudes my age replicate guys that are like 15 years old who just haven't grown up out of being a teenager practically. They're scared to post a comment on social media. That's how much of little bitches they are. They can't even post. They're afraid to even put a comment. My God, making a video or something to them and putting their face and their name out there. I mean, it just must be the scariest thing ever to them. But also, people are just too stupid to come up on here and say anything worthwhile. That's another thing as well. So something else I wanted to touch on is the Dunning-Kruger effect. That is what my friend suffers from, the one who came on the live stream with me. And there's a ton of people out here who suffer from this. It's, of course, not just him. But basically, the Dunning-Kruger effect is, when the guy Rami, who was on my live stream, maybe about, when was that? A little over a month ago, I guess. He was on the live with the other dude, Luke, who came on. And he was saying, he summed it up perfectly. Like, he was just like, it's amazing how this guy Luke, he knows so much, but yet he's still so deceived. And that's the perfect way to describe him. Is he's, and a lot of people, not just him, but just to use him as an example, is like he's pretty aware, and he knows that he sees all this corruption in the world. But for example, he doesn't believe that when it comes to the Epstein Island stuff and how the dark occult operates and the sick things they do, he doesn't believe that there's cannibalism and that they eat children as part of rituals and the adrenochrome and all that stuff, right? Which all of us conspiracy theorists pretty much know about. But he thought that was nonsense, and I'm like, nonsense? They show us subliminally a lot that they're into that stuff, man. It's documented that they do that stuff when it comes to occult practices and what they worship. I mean, they subliminally show us these things, but people don't see it. And again, it comes down to people, they just want to believe what they want to believe. They pick and choose what they want to believe in, what they want to put their energy into. They never want to look at the whole picture because the whole picture is too uncomfortable for them, right? So, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect, and that's what a lot of people suffer from. I mean, let's just use the people in QAnon, I guess, for example. The people that actually believe that Trump is going to save the day. When that whole movement kind of picked up steam, and I'm not really saying the QAnon, I'm just saying the kind of, I guess, the MAGA movement as a whole, because it seemed like very rational from 2020 to half of 2024. It seemed like the rational movement, and just like we were all just sick of what we had with Biden, right? And what happened is that a lot of people woke up. There was a big divide with conservatives and MAGA, division within division, right? And now what we see with MAGA is there's like a good chunk that kind of woke up, but there's still quite a big chunk of the population that, of course, still believes in Trump, and it's like no matter what Trump does, you're going to support him, right? And those people in that whole movement, in the entire thing as a whole, they know a lot, right? They're aware of the occult aspect. They're aware that there's higher powers in the world that are dictating our lives and controlling the government, and that there's, pedophilia that the powers that be are involved in, and the adrenochrome, they even know about that. They know about the Federal Reserve and the scam with that. And they see through a lot of bullshit, right? And that attracted a lot of people initially when that whole thing was starting to come up, because people were searching for logical answers. But now what's happened is either people still are supporting Trump, so they know about these things, right? So darkness came to light. Now they're aware. They're partially like awake to what's going on, but they still believe that Trump is going to save the day. They still believe he's the guy. And they think that, all the politicians are corrupt, but he's not for some reason, that he's the only billionaire that's not corrupt out of all of them. Like, I don't know really what goes on in their heads. But it's ridiculous because they still think that slavery is necessary. They still think we need a government and authority over us, which is not the answer. Because as long as there's a small amount of people controlling a lot, there's always going to be slavery. And it's never going to end up good for the people, me and you. And then there's that whole other part of MAGA. They kind of woke up to the fact, because they didn't like how Trump is all supportive and in cahoots with Israel. They don't like that he's doing the wars. They don't like that he backed up off the immigrations and he didn't do as much as it as he said he was going to do. And those guys are all falling down the rabbit holes of the micro-influencers like Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, Jake Shields, Candace Owens, whoever. People alike, people similar, people who are still thinking that, people who are making you hate each other, people who are talking about some real things but ultimately misleading you and not guiding you in the right direction, because again, they point the fingers. It's a lot of it is chaos. And there's even division with them now. I see beef with like Andrew Tate and Sneeko or whoever, and I thought these guys were friends, right? Because I've seen them on podcasts together it was a couple years ago, I guess, when I first found them, and I used to see them on podcasts together with Myron, and now they're beefing, calling each other gay. Like, it's ridiculous. It's shills calling each other shills. And I don't know for 100% if all of them are shills. Andrew Tate, 100%. But guys like Nick Fuentes, is he a Fed? I think he is. But could he just be a useful idiot? Maybe. Absolutely. That's always a possibility. But anyway, he if you just listen to what he says in his content, all these guys, you know real truth, you know actual morality. You're not gonna get deceived by these people. But someone who doesn't have that prerequisite knowledge is not gonna know to not follow these guys. It's gonna make sense to them, and they're gonna follow it. Now, hopefully, down the road, they'll come out of that and go deeper into the truth and realize that these guys were put in front of them as a stumbling block. But that's anyway. What I'm trying to say is that's my point with the Dunning-Kruger effect that a lot of people suffer from. Is they know a good amount. They know so much. They do. You can have a conversation with them about a lot of truth, but they know so little because ultimately they can't see the bigger picture. They can't see the forest for the trees, right? Their scopes is they need bigger scopes or whatever. They need like a bigger pair of binoculars or something to see further. And again, that's on them to do so. You know, people gotta. You could tell them all day the truth, sure, and maybe they'll see it. But until someone really like seeks it on their own, they're never gonna truly understand it. So give me 1 minute, guys. I'm just gonna go get water real quick. All right, I am back. Yeah, I'm not gonna make this too long, guys. Let me just check to see if anyone's even in here. Yeah, I got a whopping 75 subscribers, so I don't got too many fans, as you guys probably can tell. So anyone who joins, who participates, who subscribes, who likes, who comments, I deeply appreciate it. Doesn't look like anyone's in here, I don't think. So yeah, if you're just coming in or you're listening to this later, let me know what you think about everything that I'm saying here. If you're seeing this, I was really upset yesterday, man. Like I thought we made a good podcast, we had a good conversation, and I was just and again, what really annoys me is the fact that he progressed. It's like he took a step forward and then he just took 2 steps backwards because he just got consumed by the fear, irrational fear. That's what he got consumed by, and that's what everyone, not everyone, but that is what people ultimately, everything boils down to is fear when it comes to why people won't look into the truth and especially stand for truth. They're scared. And it's just, for me, man, it's really frustrating and aggravating, like I said, that I've been doing this since 2019. I've done it on and off. Now, the past year and a half, I've been very consistent. Because I told myself in 2025 when that year started that I wanted to really get serious about this and be consistent and know, even if I barely, because the reason I'd stop is because I just don't get any views and it doesn't seem to make any change, but the more I do it, the more that people are seeing what I'm saying and waking up. You just really got to hammer this stuff and be consistent and be rational about it and not act crazy about it. I don't, you could you could spoon feed this stuff to people, man, and people just still wouldn't really get it. And it's because they don't want it. Like, people are just making a choice to not want to get it because they think it's crazy. And again, they know deep inside that if they acknowledge that what I'm saying or other people who talk about what I'm saying is true, then they have to change. And they have to reevaluate themselves. They have to reevaluate how they view the world. And they have to re-educate themselves. And that's like the last thing people want to do, is admit to themselves that they were wrong. But it's so frustrating that people just want to sit on the sideline and say, yeah, Justin, you're doing a good job. I respect what you do. But because that's what this guy said to me in the text message when he was like, I respect what you do, man, but you got to look at it from my end. Yeah, I understand his end. I understand it, okay? I really do. Trust me, okay? We all need money. We all need it to survive. I understand it. I totally do. So it's just like, yeah, I can't take the risk because everyone's got an excuse, but I'll sit back and support you and say good job, Justin, and this and that. While you take the risk, while you do what you can, I'll just sit here and watch. If you're lucky, maybe I'll make an anonymous account and I'll post stuff on social media because that's how much of a coward I am. I mean, it's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. But all right, I've gone over 30 minutes here already. I know in the first like 5 minutes I wasn't really talking because I was trying to get shit set up. But again, please subscribe to the channel. Please like. Let me know everything. Let me know your thoughts on everything that was said here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.